Okay, welcome to your tutorial on multiplication and division of decimals. Guys, this is not rocket science. You have been doing multiplication and division since year 2. However, today we're just going to review quickly how we handle decimals rather than whole numbers when we multiply and divide. So let's get going. When we're multiplying decimals, the things we have to pay attention to, it's almost the same as when we do it with whole numbers. However, if we're multiplying decimals, I'm going to have a decimal point somewhere. So when we multiply, when we actually lay it out, just ignore the decimal point and then backtrack at the end and pay attention to it. So at the start, we kind of ignore it, and then at the end, we go back and say, okay, how many decimal places was there? Then we put these on the number in order to find the answer at the end. But you use exactly the same strategies and the same techniques that you use multiplying whole numbers. We're going to have a look at a few examples in a moment. Dividing, how do we divide? Again, dividing decimals, it's exactly the same thing and exactly the same strategies and techniques that you do with whole numbers. However, if you are dividing the divisor, so the one that goes on the outside, what you're dividing the number by, must be a whole number. If it's a decimal, can't do it. Okay, the divisor must be a whole number. Okay, in order to get it into a whole number, most of the time we just have to multiply it by an appropriate multiple of 10. So it might be 100, it might be 1,000, depending on how many decimal places we have. Again, we're going to have a look at a few examples, but this multiplication and division is exactly the same as you have been doing since primary school, just with a few tips and tricks with decimals. Okay, here's my example. Now, when I was talking about multiplication, I said we just actually ignore the decimal places. So, for the time being, my example I have here, 125.678 multiplied by 0.23. I'm going to write this out how I write multiplication. So, my place values under place values. So, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. Making sure I'm putting place values under place values in terms of the amount of digits I have. That's what I've got. I've translated 125.678 into 125.678. I've ignored the decimal places and I've put place values under place values in terms of how they would be written if they were a whole number. Okay, and I'm multiplying. Now, it's really straightforward, guys. 3 8s, 24. Carry the 2. 3 7s, 21, add 2, 23, carry the 2. 6 3s are 18, plus 2 is 20, carry the 2. 3 5s are 15, plus 2 is 17, carry the 1. 3 2s are 6, plus 1 is 7. 3 1s are 3. So 3 7, 7 0 3 4. Now, as you know with multiplication, I put a 0 when I start on to the next one, and I go 2 8s are 16, okay, 2 7s are 14, add 1 for 15, okay, 6 2s are 12, add 1 is 13, 2 5s are 10, add 1 is 11, 2 2s are 4, add 1 is 5, 2 1s are 2. Now there's a 0 there, so I don't actually have to work it out. And if I go ahead and add these together, I would get 4, 9, 5, 10, 8, 9, 8, 2. So I get 2, 8, 9, 0, 5, 9, 4. Now, I know 125.678 multiplied by 0.23 isn't that big giant number. So what is it? Let's move this up a bit. What is it and what do I do? Now, like I said in my example, now we backtrack. We count the number of digits after the decimal point in each of our numbers. So here's my decimal point in 0.23, which means I have 1, 2 digits after. Here's my decimal point in this question, means I have 1, 2, 3. So I have 5 altogether. 2 in this one here on the right and 3 in this one, which means that my number is going to have 5 decimal places. So I go, I start on that side and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I can pop this here. That will put it there. show you what I did there. I started here and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because I counted the 5 decimal places I had in my number. My answer becomes 28.09594. Now, I can give my answer like that. Most of the time, I'd be being right. Please pay attention to see if it says round to 2 decimal places or round to 1 decimal place, which you learned how to do last lesson. Okay, let's have a look at our dividing. Okay, now I said with dividing it's fine. You're able to do it as long as it's a whole number. Okay, as long as your divisor or the guy on the outside is a whole number. So I'm saying here, let's do this example first. This guy here. 54.6 divided by 8. So I've got my decimal. Oops, isn't that convenient? I'm already dividing it by a whole number. So 54.6 divided by 8. Okay, so the number I'm saying that number divided by this number. 8 goes on the outside, 54.6 goes on the inside. Okay, so we start 8 into 54. 8 goes into 54 6 times with a remainder of 6. Whoops, that was a bit of a dodgy 6. Okay, and the main thing to remember is it's decimal points under decimal points. I've got them here. Decimal points under decimal points. It's really important that you remember this, guys, okay? So, I pop that decimal place there. 8 into 66. Well, 8 goes into 64 8 times, and so I've got a remainder of 2. Let's add some zeros here so I can start doing something, okay? Remainder of 2. I keep on adding zeros as many as I require, okay? 8 into 20. Well, 8 into 20 goes, 8 can go into 16 with a remainder of 4. Okay, 8 goes into 40. Oh, look, that's cool. 8 goes into 40 evenly. Okay, so 54.6, my decimal, divided by 8, becomes 6.825. Okay, now, the question will more than likely ask you if you ever get asked to 2 decimal places or to 1 decimal place or to, usually it's 2 most of the time when you're dealing with this. So your answer for this to 2 decimal places is we find the second one, we look to the critical digit, it's bigger than 5, so this goes up 1, so my answer becomes 6.83. Okay, because I've rounded it up to 2 decimal places. The question will always ask you, I haven't asked you here, but it always will. Okay, that's that example. Excellent, let's try and get rid of all of this, slowly but surely. Beautiful. Okay, let's look at this other example here. Now, I'm kind of stuck a little bit here because I'm saying 89.356 divided by 0.06. I can't divide a number by 0.06. I just can't do it. So I have to make sure that I multiply my number. So whatever my divisor is, this guy here, is a whole number. Now, in this case, I'm going to multiply by 100 because there's 2 decimal places here. Okay, and if I multiply a number with 2 decimal places by 100, it'll become a whole. Same if I multiply a number that has no units and 3 decimal places. If I multiply that by 1,000, I'll get a whole. If there's 1 decimal place, I multiply it by 10, I'll get a whole. So in this case, it is 100. So I multiply both of these by 100. Okay, and that will get me an answer of 6. And it will get me, if I multiply by 8, 9, 3, 5.6. Okay, that will be my answer, okay, because I've multiplied them by 100. So I've moved this decimal place 1, 2, and I've moved this decimal place 1, 2. Okay, so that's my answer. Now, exactly as I did last time, let me just delete that for you. Exactly as I did last time, beautiful, I'm just going to move that up. I go 6, divisor, 8, 9, 3, 5.6. I don't know how many zeros I need, I'm just going to put 1 on the end for the moment. I can add more as I need them. So 6 goes into 8 once with a remainder of 2. 6 goes into 29, well, 4 times with a remainder of 5. 6 goes into 53, 8 times with a remainder of 5. 6 goes into 55. 9 times. I was able to get up to 9 there. With a remainder of 1. Of course, only 1 because it's 54. Now, main thing. Decimal points under decimal points. These guys here must make sure you put your decimal places underneath your decimal places. So those red ones there, as I've done, it's really important that you put the decimal place wherever it fits. So 6 into 16 goes twice with a remainder of 4, because 6 2s are 12, so 16. 6 goes into 40 6 times with a remainder of 4. I need another 0. 6 goes into 40. 6. I'm seeing a pattern here. 6 goes. Okay, cool. So I'm going to have a reoccurring decimal here. So if I round that answer to 2 decimal places, I get 1489.27. Now, that is the answer to 89.356 divided by 0.06. I don't have to do anything. I multiplied it by 100. I don't have to divide it by 100, even though I manipulated the number at the start. I would like you into your grid books to explain why. I would like you to write 3 sentences in your grid book and then come up and see me and explain why 89.356 divided by 0.06 is 1489, just in the same way as 8,935.6 divided by 6 is exactly the same number. Okay, you ready? Let's get on with it.